Elk are a larger member of the deer family, and they were native to Wisconsin. Many deer hunters are also interested in elk, so we thought we'd take a look at how the elk are doing. This past spring, we spent a day in Jackson County with DNR elk biologist Christina Kisewski and a crew of volunteers as they searched for newborn elk calves.
Elk were native here in Wisconsin. They were extirpated in the 1800s. In 1995, elk were reintroduced into the Clam Lake area. They were sourced from a herd in Michigan. Reintroduction efforts began in 2015 when 23 elk were released in Jackson County, and then in 2016 an additional 50 elk were released. And those elk were sourced from a herd in Kentucky. One reason elk were brought from Michigan as well as Kentucky were to help with genetic gene flow within the herd. Our main objective today is to collar the newborn elk calves in order to determine the calf survival to year 1. Putting out these GPS collars on the newborn calves allows us to get that data point. We can go in and investigate causes of mortalities, and that's a bit of information that we get as well from the collars. Also, this year we're utilizing GPS collars on our calves so we can get synchronized data from the cow collar and the calf collar. So our next steps then are to call in a group of volunteers. Typically we shoot for about 15 volunteers paired with some additional DNR staff as well. As you all are probably aware, elk are very herd associated animals. And so when we see those GPS locations move away from the herd and then really kind of localize down, that's pretty indicative of a calving event. We'll go out into the woods, into that area. So we take small, slow, methodical sweeps throughout the woods. We're looking for that calf hidden in the vegetation. Typically the calf is motionless and quiet. That's their natural way to evade predators. So sometimes they can be quite difficult to see. If we find the calf, everyone will stop. We'll point out where the calf is at. We'll make this large circle around the calf, and we're able to constrict our circle down even greater and then put our hands on the calf. We put a blindfold on the calf to minimize that visual stimulation, and then we can begin our workup protocol. So what that protocol looks like is we put an expandable GPS collar on the calf. It's a small little battery box that has GPS and VHF capabilities. The collar is made of elastic banding, and our goal here for the expandable belting is for the collar to stay with the calf up to year 1 at minimum. After we put the collar on, we put a tiny little microchip. It's called a pit tag. It's just an additional unique identifier, similar to what people might put into their pets. And then we weigh the animal. We take an incisor measurement with a caliper. So what that'll give us is the age of the calf. We sex the calf, and then also we put an ear tag in the calf. And then that's the end of the workup. At the very end, after we've done all of our workup, we remove that cotton blindfold and we put a blindfold of natural vegetation. And there's only one person remaining with the elk calf at that point. After the vegetation is placed over its eyes, the last person will sneak out quietly as to not disturb the area as much as possible. Deer hunters are a passionate group of people. They're definitely interested in their deer hunting and the activities that surround it, and that reciprocates too to elk hunting. So they're generally interested in the population, how is it doing, when potentially could there be a hunt in the future for the central zone. There's been a hunt since 2018 in the northern zone. So I've heard from many deer hunters that are putting their name in the hat trying to win that elk tag. My take-home message to gun deer hunters during that 9-day rifle season is to know your target, know what's behind it, make sure you're shooting at a white-tailed deer, maybe take one extra second to ensure that your target is certainly a white-tailed deer and not an elk.